Well, thank you for tuning in to my official YouTube channel. So, I'm Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle. I've been known by a few names. So I'm going to continue on with this page, and then this page, and this page. I'm doing what I can to get this all squared away before I wind up going and taking care of a few things in that regard. So I'm going to go start off with the ultimatum story. So in reference to, I had told my now dead ex-husband then all he had to do was get one gun safe for as many firearms as he had. Just one. Just one. That's all I asked. Didn't think it was much. My son was already crawling around. I was pregnant with my daughter, and when the first time of discussing this, and I was like, just get a gun safe. Just one. Just one. And I don't want to. Well, when moving into the house, it's like, okay, come on, you need to get a gun safe. You need to get a gun safe. You need to get a gun safe. Now, if you don't get a gun safe, I am going to go New Jersey gun laws on you. I only request one gun safe. That's all I ask. I don't ask for much. Like, realistically, I don't think it's too much to ask to just say, have one gun safe. Just one, that's it. That's all. It's not much. Just one gun safe. He didn't want to do it. So I gave him an ultimatum after all that time of requesting over and over and over and over again. Just give me a gun. Just give me a gun safe so that way I can be like, okay, because like there's all the firearms and stuff like that. Just get it for the house. That's all. Do not make me have to get it. Because if I have to get it, I'm going to go New Jersey gun laws on you. In the house. It's my house. And I prefer not to. I prefer that it'd be simplistic. Just get one gun safe. That's all. That's all. Not much asking for. When you really think about it, just one gun safe, right? You don't want it. So it got to, well, when I'm going to give you 30 days, until I finally remember, and then, okay, fine, I'm going to go do it. So I ordered a gun safe for the black powder rifles, a gun safe for the rifles, a gun safe for the shotguns, a gun safe for the black powder pistols, a gun safe for the regular pistols, a gun safe for the ammunition, and then a gun safe for all of the keys for the gun locks that I ordered. And I found this deal on eBay, which is kind of funny. It wound up working out. The way it worked out, I should say. So I wind up meeting with the guy because he's, from San Antonio. And we meet up and I pick up the gun locks and he's like, are you sure you don't want them keyed? No. I explain the whole thing. He goes, your name, it kind of sounds familiar. Like this name of someone that I was told about once. I said, oh, well, your last name actually reminds me of someone that I knew. Although it's San Antonio, so the last name of Menchaca is kind of like, it's not just San Antonio, but like, it's kind of a fairly common last name in certain regards. He goes, yeah. Did you ever, are you living in the house? Like, so, I used to live in an apartment complex. And he goes, oh, my son and my daughter-in-law lived and worked in, Songbird Apartments? Oh, yeah. Is it Bethany? And he goes, yes. And I said, oh, how's the baby doing? And he goes, they have been trying so long and they told me about you. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, And he goes, they told me that they had been trying multiple times. I said, yeah, they told me about that later. I do apologize that I wound up being told before you. And he goes, it makes sense now. I'm like, oh, why is that? He goes, he had been told about my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And we had discussed certain things in that discussion. And he had told me what Bethany and Joseph had told him and all that sort of stuff. And he was like, yeah, they went through intravitros, all that sort of stuff. And then, couple months, you know, after, I think it was at most, I think it was like 3 months after moving in, but it was like a month after 9/11 occurred. And I said, yeah, we discussed that. And he said, yeah, like, I have a grandchild because of you. I was like, no, you have a grandchild because of other stuff, but I get what you mean. And, you know, it is what it is. He's like, and spoiling the grandchild? Of course. I was like, okay, well, that's cool. Baby's doing well. Yes, bigger and stuff like that. So we started talking and all that sort of stuff. And so I had told him about when I was the first live baby Jesus for the drive-through nativity in Old Tennant Presbyterian Church, and how it had been years, like over a decade, before anybody had children that were infants to be able to be the baby Jesus. And so then after I had been the baby Jesus twice because of size, because of being the only one, so on and so forth, then all of a sudden, like, everybody was having children. Like, a bunch of the congregation, just over and over, different children, so on and so forth. And it was one of those, well, that's cool. So got the gun locks and stuff like that. And that was it. You know, the gun safes showed up, took them upstairs because it was in the closet in the second floor that I had put the gun safes. And, you know, he had to organize them. He had to put the gun locks on them and all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, that's where they stayed. Now, in that regard, first off, the black powders I thought should have gone to the older brother, Tony, who lived in Oklahoma at the time, before they ever wound up in regards to my dead ex-husband when he was alive. And it was just one of those. So after he had become my ex-husband and then dead ex-husband, I had contacted Tony, who I knew, Tony Walker Nichols. I knew that he had his hunting license, not just in Oklahoma, but in multiple states. And he had worked as a contractor at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And I was one of those, I can't maintain these. I can't do the required maintenance for especially the Civil War and Revolutionary War era black powder rifles and pistols. So, do you want to come pick up the family heirlooms? Take them to Oklahoma and take care of them. And so he did. He got all that stuff, and I thought that was how that was done. Because what would I know about firearms in that regard beyond just safety aspects in that regard? And so that's what happened with them and stuff like that. However, I went New Jersey gun law. I did. Those who understand New Jersey gun laws understand that, you know, as far as like organization type of stuff, I don't care how much ammunition, I'm all for that. Don't care how many firearms, I'm all for the Second Amendment. But if you're going to have firearms, responsible, like, especially if there are children. So, you know, firearm safety I don't think it's difficult to understand that. And so, you know, that was one of those, okay, you have a firearm, you know, this sort of stuff. And my son wound up learning after my now dead ex-husband died. He had learned how to go hunting, do that sort of stuff. I put him through the hunting license in Oklahoma so that way he could do that sort of stuff. And he learned how to hunt. Now, his cousin Joseph was taken to go hunting in one specific way, whereas my son was taken hunting to go in a different way because the animals, my son was able to be quiet and pay attention and listen and learn and all that stuff, whereas his cousin Joseph Anthony Lopez, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez's son, messed up a whole bunch. And so my son, while he, meaning James, was like, why can't I do that? Because he's teaching you. He knows that you have that capability. He's teaching you so that way you maintain your composure, so that way you can get even the tiniest all the way to the biggest. Because when going hunting, you need to be able to do certain things to not disrupt the animals. And he just kind of, I want to do, yes, I know. However, he's teaching you this. So pay attention. He's been a hunter for a very long time. And so, give your uncle the respect he deserves. Listen to what he's showing you, because it is important. And you need to know this stuff. And, well, I don't care what Joseph is doing. That is not my concern. He is being taught in the way he is being taught because he needs to learn how to just be quiet. He needs to learn how to respect authority. He needs to know about gun safety. He is too whatever to do what you are being trained in that regard to do. So pay attention to what your Uncle Tony is teaching you and do as your Uncle Tony shows you how to do when it comes to hunting, because it is important. My son, I don't care what Joseph is doing at all. You are my son. I want you to know these things. I have no problem with this, and so on and so forth. And so he did. He learned how to do that. He got to get that education in that regard. I am all for the Second Amendment right. That is an example in that regard. If I wasn't for the Second Amendment rights, I wouldn't have been okay with my son learning how to properly do certain things, go through the licensing, all that sort of stuff. If I also didn't, I understand there are those who don't have the exact same view of that. However, gun safety is important in many ways, and you respect the firearm. Now, when I was growing up in New Jersey, my biological father had a whole bunch of firearms, and that included revolvers and different pistols. And one day, I had found a bunch of them. And so he had the dresser on one side, and then there were a bunch of rifles off to the side in the corner, between the edge of the dresser, the nightstand, and then like the corner. And I went to reach for one, and after I had found the revolver, it was a silver one. And just looking at it, I had one in one hand, and I was reaching for the rifle in the other. And Mike walked in, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just going to go play. No. And so I was very quickly educated. So the house in New Jersey had a football field size property. And so my biological father took me outside onto the back patio. It was on the second story because of the way that house was built. And he pointed to a mole that was out like in the yard, like all the way off to the side. It was off to the upper left-hand side of the property. Mole all the way over there. Or it was a groundhog or whatever it was. Point being, I could see it. And Mike lined up the shot, and he goes, "This is what a firearm can do." Boom! Watch the mole off in the upper left-hand corner of the property go. And Mike looks at me and goes, "Let's go walk and see." Oh, okay, sure. And so go outside and go look at it, and the mole on the upper left-hand corner side of the property, closer to the fence line, just completely obliterated with whatever the firearm shop was. I was like, oh, okay. So now I know. That was the end of that. I wasn't taught anything further than that in that regard, but that was enough to be like, okay, I am understanding and comprehending very well. I get it. Okie dokie. Not a problem. All right, then. So, that was one of those. And so there's that. And now in regards to a revolver, the reference of that particular aspect, both of them have to do with my ex-sister-in-law, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen. Both of those have to do with the fact that my ex-sister-in-law, Mary Evangelina Nichols Osteen, had used the revolver in reference to the aspects of pointing at a guy's head who was using her phone in the house in Macon, Georgia. She didn't say what year it was. And then in reference to getting her dog Elvis, the bloodhound, that she thought somebody took from her front yard, which no, he just wandered off. And so I did send that off. In regards to baby, that has to do with my now dead ex-husband then had apparently gone to a store. I had taken my son and my daughter to the commissary of Fort Sam Houston. I went to go get food from the commissary, of course. And got everything, loaded it up on the conveyor belt, went to go pay, and there was no money. It got declined. What? So then I went to the ATM, and it was negative. I don't understand. It's like the first of the month, maybe the second of the month. Didn't make sense. Had to, unfortunately, apologize to them and say, I gotta go figure out what this is. Get back to the house. Thankfully, I purchased things the way I did at the time. Get back to the house. And my now dead ex-husband then is looking at this box on the counter. Take my son and my daughter upstairs after they had already eaten and stuff like that, put them down for nap. Get back downstairs and I look at my now dead ex-husband and I said, what is that? Is that why I couldn't buy groceries today? And he looked at me and goes, it was awesome. What happened? So essentially he got a baby desert eagle for $1,250. And I freaked out because first off, not being able to purchase groceries, that being the first portion. And then the second portion, you didn't even get a 50 cal, you got a freaking baby desert eagle. What is this? What is it? You can't take it back, can you? I smell that it's been fired. And then I asked, where did you get it from? And he said, and he made fun of me for this. He goes, since you have a thing for Marines. Yes, I do. I do. I have a thing for, and then I dealt with that. And that is what another, I have a thing for Marines. Yeah, there's a little soft spot in my heart. Because, Marine guys, they go through what they go through. They don't get the credit that they deserve. And so I have this, aside from the fact that those dress blues just, just have a thing. And so, anyway, my now dead ex-husband then, you're gonna laugh because I told the Marine guy about, me, and I look at him like, so what happened when you left? And he goes, what do you mean? What happened when you left? What do you mean by that? What happened when you left? Did you hear anything after spending $1,250 on a baby desert eagle? Not a 50 cal, not like a couple, but go ahead, tell me. He heard bells when the door shut. I said, that had to cover up the laughter from that Marine guy. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, because, he screwed you. He bent you over. Metaphorically speaking, he bent you over. Didn't use any KY at all whatsoever, because you could have got like a 50 cal and a half. for what you paid for a baby desert eagle. Not even a baby desert eagle. And granted, I was obviously upset as far as the commissary was concerned, but still, realistically, I already knew that the firearm couldn't be returned, so I was like, okay. And so, couldn't get, just, oh, you want to go and get him? All right, well, whatever. That Marine used those bells to cover up his laughter because of guys like you that would talk to him in such a way. And that's what you get. And, yeah, why do you have to care about the Marines so much more than the... It's not that I care about the Marines more than the Army. I care about all of the branches and divisions of the United States of America's armed forces equally. I just happen to have a thing when it comes to males in the Marine Corps uniform. Like, there's just, like, they just look so good. And they're it's just a thing that I have that just, and plus which they went through the longest amount of basic training before ever going to their job training. They don't get the credit like that's, other branches sometimes get. And it's not usually known or acknowledged that they go through 13 weeks of basic training before they ever go and do all this other stuff. And, and you guy like you share my matter. And they did all that during basic training. They didn't have to go to specialty school. They did that during basic training. And you want to talk to who like what? I don't think so. I dealt with a conversation after that. That is what it is. Point being, I have done quite a bit, especially when it comes to defending the Marine Corps. I know I'm not the only person who finds the Marine Corps dress blues to be well, be still my heart. Because it's a thing. I know I'm not the only one who has discussed that. So yeah, so there's that. I'll continue going on. So Christmas Inc. is regards to my ex-sister-in-law who, wanted to have that done in that regard. And then as far as her Christmas present, that's what she wanted. And then she didn't have the decency to let the guy know in reference to the aspects of the scar that was around her stomach like a hula hoop is what it looked like, in my opinion. But then again, you also shouldn't piss off the doctors that you're going to have do plastic surgery on you at a plastic surgery school where it's already lowered as far as price-wise. You don't try to barter with them and try to get a lower price at a plastic surgery school and all that sort of stuff. And you just don't do that at all. So, while I'm not saying that that's exactly why her scar looked the way it did, she did go to a plastic surgery school and she could have told the tattoo artist that she was, having that done. Nonetheless, in regards to Hurricane Katrina, I dated a female. This is the same female that was just absolutely obsessed with the Patty Vaughn case out of Lavernia, the exact same female. And so I was already at the I am done. I am already I can't handle dealing with you anymore. And then Hurricane Katrina kicked up, and sitting and watching the news, I was mainly listening, but anyway, Pam looks over at me and she goes, "Do you see those animals on the roofs?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. It's sad to see the animals on the roofs. However, there are a bunch of people that, like the elderly, the ones in the police, the the prisoners and stuff like that, the citizens who couldn't get out, not the ones who chose not to leave, the ones that just couldn't get out for whatever reason. Those, yeah, I feel bad for them. I don't feel bad for the dogs in comparison. I mean, I do care about animals. However, if it's humanity over the animals, I'm going to choose humanity to survive, and, you know, as best as possible. I mean, animals are of importance. There are genuine reasons for animals. The point being, though, you know, if it's between the pets or the human beings, I'm going to go with the human beings. Oh, you just have no heart. No, I do have a heart. I just don't have patience for what you're giving me as far as excuses. Now, before I continue on in that, that is the exact same female who showed me a bunch of pictures. And she was like, do you know who that guy is? And she points to this picture, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, but ooh, I got bad feelings. I don't, get that picture away from me. That is just, ooh, who is that? And she goes, are you talking about, like, the, pointing to herself, pointing to these other people? I'm like, no, the one in the back, 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 ew, 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 ew. The one in the back. Oh, and just get that picture away from me. And she was like, no, he's so cool. Like, well, kind of. I don't know about that. Ooh. My tongue just had like this taste, and my stomach was churning, and it was just before the Hurricane Katrina thing, and just, oh, no, 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 no. Get that away from me. Get that out of my sight. Get that away from me. Ew, ew, ew. So she puts it back in her shoebox with all these other pictures, and she goes, are you not impressed by who that is? No, no. Oh, who was that? And she goes, have you ever heard of the guy Jeffrey Dahmer? I look at her, I go, no, but I don't ever, ew, no, 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 no. No, no, no. Why would you be proud of that? And you are a part of that community. Why would you be proud of that picture? Why would you be proud of that? And she was like, oh, it's no big deal. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, Pam. I think that I have a feeling that people that would find out about that, like, I don't know why you would think to be proud of that. That's disgusting. That is disgusting to be proud of that. And she was like, well, I don't have it in a picture frame. That the fact that you wanted me to see that and you are still proud of that, just no. No, that's disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. I can't. I just can't. I can't. And she was just, oh, you don't care. And it's like, no, I care about whoever he hurt. I care about whatever that, oh, ew, oh, oh, ew, 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 ew. Ew, 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 ew. And for you to be okay with the fact that you're proud to have that picture of you with that, no. How could you be a proud lesbian and be proud of having a picture like that? And being with and hanging out and all that sort of stuff. And she was like, oh, it was just this party. I can't remember what state she said she was in. And I looked at her and I was like, you disgust me. You just absolutely disgust me. So then watching the Hurricane Katrina thing, and she's worried about an ex-girlfriend of hers that had 3 children and all this sort of stuff in some parish out in Louisiana and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, but it's not the only place that is being affected. And you're only caring about the animals and all that stuff, and you need to be paying attention to all these other things too. And her response was, well, if George W. Bush would just do his job, Hurricane Katrina wouldn't be, President George Bush is who, Katrina is, it's his fault. It's all George Bush's fault that Hurricane Katrina is going on. So I need a cigarette now. I need to have that understanding as to why you psychotically think that President George W. Bush is responsible for Hurricane Katrina going on. That you know what, let me get a new pack of cigarettes because I've smoked like 3 out of the other pack. So let me just make sure I have enough nicotine for whatever is about to come out of you. And so she tells me that George W. Bush came up with a chemical compound. Yeah, George W. Bush came up with a chemical compound. He did all the nuclear physicists stuff for that. And he created a suicide mission where this set of guys in the Air Force would load this capsule, and these are my words, of magic fairy dust. Because she said it was this powder, something another, and you're describing fairy dust that comes in a little bottle, like that's, but like bigger to me, like that's what it sounds like, but go on. And so this capsule of magic fairy dust, again, my words, magic fairy dust, is put into this big old capsule where, you know, these Air Force guys know that they're going on a suicide mission to fly into the storm of hurricanes, not over the clouds, but into the storm to go to the eye of the storm and then go up instead of just going over the clouds to where the center of the storm is. And then the Air Force guys push a button and the claws open the capsule of magic fairy dust, in my words, and the capsule of magic fairy dust goes and sprinkles onto the clouds of the hurricane, and the hurricane goes away. I lit a half-smoked cigarette to a new cigarette because it was just, okay, continue, because I can't. It's a little much. But go ahead, go and tell me about this magic fairy dust. How is it a suicide mission? Well, it's a suicide mission because as the magic fairy dust, my words, but you know, whatever, the powder goes into the clouds of the hurricane, it disintegrates the airplane. What? Yeah, it just completely, so it's safe enough to not kill everything in wherever the fairy dust goes. But it's strong enough to disintegrate a military grade airplane. Yes, that is why, to Pam, Hurricane Katrina is all President George W. Bush's fault. Get out of my house. Get off of my property. I don't ever want to see you again. Why? You are psychotic. Go. You believe that President George W. Bush came up with a chemical compound that are going to be... Yes, there are suicide missions in certain regards. I don't deny that, but they're not intended as suicide missions by the United States of America's government. The guys take a portion of what they do, and then, you know, in the midst of the battle, you know, they don't care because they know that they're doing what is necessary for the country. So it's not considered a suicide mission, though others have classified it as such because of the knowledge of, you know, whether they call in airstrikes or whether they go and do this or they go and fly in whatever air vehicle to a location and they know that they've got, damage to their wing or whatever it is, or their fuselage or whatever. And so on their way, down, essentially, they go and obliterate every enemy possible. And there have been guys from those suicide missions that have survived. There are some who have. And usually they wind up being recognized for what they survived and what they did and how many lives they saved. But that description you are giving me, no, that I don't believe it. Get out of my house. Go away. Nope, I don't ever want to see you again. The relationship is over. I don't ever want to see you again. I don't want to have anything to do with you again. I was already done with the whole thing that you couldn't get over the Patty Vaughn thing. So you go. No. Oh, you don't love me. You're right. Now get out. Like, no, done. That was enough for me to be like, I don't want to date a female ever again. That was that was that much where it was like, nope, I can have fun with females. I can never date one. That, I don't think so. No, you, and very left, very, 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 like could not. She tried to convince me to not be a Republican. And I was like, nope. You're not going to do that. So she's so far left. Nope, go away. Don't want to have anything to do with that at all whatsoever. And so, yeah. And then, okay, so in reference to BB and Out by Denmark and that regard. So BB is in reference to two different things. One, although I didn't write it there, so I'll go into that one afterwards. So the first one, in reference to beanless burrito. My dead ex-husband had found out that his niece, which is also my niece, Brieanna, Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, her daughter, Brieanna Marie Lopez, refused to eat beans. They absolutely refused. Being that Susie Marie Nichols Lopez, half Dominican and then half Cherokee, and then mixture of, realistically, nonetheless, Brianna's father is from Mexico. And so my dead ex-husband told her that because she refused to eat beans, that made her a beanless burrito. Now, the aspects of that are in regards to when I would swaddle my children, and I had called them my little eggeritos in that regard. And so he, meaning my now dead ex-husband, had told Brieanna, well, you're a beanless burrito. How are you gonna be a burrito and not eat beans and all that sort of stuff? And I just kind of looked at him and I'm like, because she probably just doesn't like beans. That's probably why. Doesn't mean she's a beanless burrito, but whatever, fine. You find it funny. That is your whatever, okay. I guess I could see some humor in that, but whatever. And whatever is what it is. So the other aspect of BB, which I didn't write about in here, or it may be in a different section. Nonetheless, one Christmas, my now dead ex-husband had said he wanted a Red Ryder BB gun. This was after my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. So I was looking at the circulars in the newspaper, and I was like, oh, that's 1995 for a firearm? Because that's all I thought it as. I did not know that there was a difference, to be honest. And so, I'm gonna be at Academy in the morning. I'm gonna get a firearm. $19.95. Ooh, I better be there early. A brand new firearm for that price? Woo! I better be there early because this is the state of Texas. There are a whole bunch of people. If they find out that there's a firearm for $19.95 brand new in box, woo! I better be there early. I learned. I can laugh at myself for this. So I get to Academy off of 410 over, ironically, by 151. The irony of ironies there. Now, I'm going to pause real quick. I do remember before my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000 that I had gone to a YMCA. I had learned how to shoot with a BB and on the firing range. And so I was shown, just like everybody else with youth group, of how to do the pumping after putting the BBs in. And I had asked one of the guys what happens if you pump it more than once. And they're like, oh, well, it gives it more firepower. Oh. More firepower? Yeah, why? Oh, nothing. No reason. I want to just, what do you mean more firepower? Like, how much more firepower can I get? Like, how many pumps do I need to get to have the firepower to be really, 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 really strong? Like, how strong can it go? And the guy was talking with all of the other people in the youth group thing, and it just, get it to go in there. And he's like, well, usually at like most, like 3 or 4 pumps. Only? Only 3 or 4 pumps? Yeah, anything more than that, well, it's going to make the BB really, really strong. Oh! Cool! And the instructor was explaining to all the other kids, so strong, so strong. Lined up my shot. I watched the paper go. Next. And so, and that was the first time, the only time I shot BB gun in the name, firearm, firing range. The 3 center rings of the target, that was like 50 yards away, had the majority of the BBs. And then there were only 3 bullets that were in the bottom right corner that went through the paper. Otherwise, every single time I shot, it went through. I made that BB gun shoot quite a bit. Yeah, those who have fired BB guns know what I'm talking about. And I had to get that to go down there. Yeah, what? And I made it happen. And so, boom, got it. Cool. Awesome. Well, I only remembered that. I remembered firing range, the word gun, and then that there were bullets. And that's all that I remembered. And so when seeing the 1995 for a brand new firearm, you paid what for what? Psh, you should have waited for a freaking Black Friday sale. I was so proud of myself. I learned, obviously. Point being, so I rush over to Academy for that Black Friday sale. And I am just, why is there nobody here? Ironically, kind of like the Stony LaRue concert in that regard of showing up at 7:30 and thinking I was late. And so, well, I'm gonna get it good. Nonetheless, I get into the store as soon as it opened. And I'm thinking that there's going to be this rush of people. That just means there's going to be all sorts of people coming because anybody who's gotten into firearms, $19.95, like the sale, like, and I'm really bad with numbers, so I only saw like 90% off as like, and I cannot do math because of that head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. And so having gone from college algebra with trigonometry and calculus to second grade math, it's like, oh, wow, that's like so much money that I'm saving. I don't know how much it is, whatever. And so I get into Academy and I look at the guy, I'm like, where is your firearm section? And he's like, oh, it's in hunting and fishing. Okay, cool. So I like go over there and I'm looking at the case that has like all the different, I'm like, hi. The equivalent of me going to the LeMay museum with all the cars, like, how are you doing? Ooh, you are pretty. You are so shiny. Look how shiny you are. Ooh, I'd like to put you in a holster. I'd wear you on my hip any day of the week. Yes, I would. In my thoughts, I didn't say it out loud. Although I have a feeling I'm not the only person who has walked by certain. Look at that. I have a few places I could put you. Put you right here, put you right here, put you right here, and another one right here, put you here, and I'm just going to stop in that regard and just, yeah, that's right, I know. You fine piece of metal, you fine piece of metal, yes you are, in my thoughts, in regards to what I saw. And so this guy comes over, he's an employee of the Academy, adventure sports place. And he goes, how can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, so where are your BB guns? Because, I mean, I see some... How you two... where are the BB guns? Like, I know those aren't, but so cute. I am for the Second Amendment right, nonetheless. Yeah, that's right. The guy goes, oh, the BB guns are over here in this aisle. Wait, what? It's not behind the counter? No, it's a BB gun. I mean, I am all for the Second Amendment, but what do you mean it's on an aisle? So we go over to the aisle and they're right there, and I was just, huh? Why is it right here? Why? And the guy was like, because it's a BB gun. I mean, okay, well, it's not behind any lock, case, or glass. No. Okay, well. So I start digging in my purse, and he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to get my driver's license so you can do a background check. And the guy goes, what? Don't you have to do a background check? You go, for a BB gun? Yeah. Here you go. And the guy looks at me and he goes, I don't need your driver's license. Yes, you do, because you got to do a background check, right? No, it's a BB gun. So that had to be explained to me, and then he asked me what I was doing in the state of Texas, and thinking that I needed to hand in my driver's license to get a background check to buy a BB gun. And so then I explained my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, and he was just, oh my God, hold on one second. So he got a bunch of other employees, and they're just like, yeah, what's going on? And so I tell them the whole thing. I'm like, as far as the driver's license and the other stuff. And they were just like, so yeah, no, for a BB gun, you don't need that. That's kind of funny. But seriously? Like, you thought well, why wouldn't I? And they were like, well, where are you from that you think that you... I was born and raised in the state of New Jersey. Have you ever heard of New Jersey gun laws? And some of them were like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. But, oh my God, and what? So where can I get the bullets? And they're like, you mean the BBs? And I'm like, the bullets. They're the BBs. And the bullets, they're called BBs. It's bullets. And so and I see the shelf with a whole bunch of different, options. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll just get the biggest one. I'll get the one that looks like a paint bottle. And they were like, really? They're like, yeah, why not? The price of that? You kidding me? It's a great deal. And they were just, oh my God. Oh, okay. And you're fine with fire. Yeah, I like the ones in the case better though. I like those, but I'm not buying that for my no. And they're just like, oh, okay. So I finished the whole thing, get a few other bits of shopping done, and then I go back to my house. And I go inside, and my now dead ex-husband is standing there, and he goes, how'd it go? And I'm like, I think I got made fun of. And he goes, why would you think you got made fun of? And so I told him what happened at Academy, and he's like, yeah, you got made fun of. And I was like, yeah, I kind of figured. But it doesn't matter because it is what it is. So here's your fucking BB gun. It is what it is in that regard. And he just, so I can make fun of myself very easily because I can see how funny that one is, especially in regards to being in the state of Texas, having the background in regards of, despite the fact I didn't graduate basic training for the United States of America's Armed Forces Army branch, nonetheless, I can very much understand how that's, I can laugh at myself. I would guesstimate there are others who could laugh at that as well. Nonetheless, yeah, I did it. I did. And in comparison, in my defense, I mean, $1,250 for a smaller firearm compared to the size of a BB gun. I get that's probably a cognitive issue thing. Nonetheless, $1,250, $19.95. Baby Desert Eagle. Big thing that looks like a rifle. My math. That's a good deal. And the whole bunch. So that's my math. That's my math. You guys have a good one. Comment, share, like, and subscribe to my official YouTube channel. Have a good one.